Red Bull gives you wings.
Stephanie with the swing back with a double kill, 3 into the round. Juliana with 4 kills in the round.
And they just spam it! I stay fit, I stay focused, no promotion. Let's be
And Kinsey has to hold it in the sight. Make that even a third.
Hello and welcome to the VALORANT Game Changers North America Series 2 presented by Verizon. We're already here on day number 3 and the teams have whittled down to just 4 to try and claim that #1 spot in the event. I'm your host Mimi and today I got some cool people joining me here on the desk. Both Bach and Sapphire coming in to go through 2 matches today. We got our upper finals, our lower round 3, so we're going to get at least one of those teams in the grand finals and whittle it down to our final 3 by the time we finish. Mark, it's been a while, but it's been a very good event thus far here in Game Changers. I think some of the most upsets we've had in quite a long time.
And that's one of the most interesting things when you take a look at the bracket too, is you see maybe some outcomes that you wouldn't anticipate. And I think the first match of the day is a great indicator of what we're talking about. The fact that DSG, pretty much a brand new roster, stomps through the bracket and makes it to this point to face off against the heavy favorites in V1 is a surprise. You know, Shopify Rebellion gets knocked down into the lower bracket right off the rip. You've got Xset losing in the first round and then getting dropped out in that first round of the lowers as well. Definitely not what I think many of us would have expected.
And it's also really great to see some of these newer names. Like usually you've got the same teams coming up. It was nice to see Overkill Black make it into the main event while they dropped out in the first round. It's still great to see that team. And then of course we're going to talk a lot about them today is Disguise team and just building this team just weeks ago. They made it into both the main event and now they're making such a big impact and playing for a spot in that grand finals.
It's been an excellent run from DSG already, but they're facing up against the Titan today of Game Changers in version 1. And let's dive into talking about this matchup, because I think everyone, like you guys were mentioning, would have expected version 1 to be here. This core of Alexis and Mel, every single Game Changers. They've been in the upper final, they've been the favorite to win it, and it's the same case here. But Mark, it really is a big surprise to see DSG making it here, considering the history of how repetitive this upper final normally is.
And I think it's exactly what Heather was saying. Like, it's nice to see some fresh faces. The fact that maybe some of the teams who have been here all along are starting to struggle is an indicator of growth in the scene. But also just the fact that Shopify Rebellion got knocked down early, kind of a little bit strange. Maybe it's a wake-up call for some of the teams that have been around for a while. Like, hey, it's time to get moving. Maybe the teams are starting to catch up. Don't get complacent. Don't rest on your laurels, because these young up-and-coming teams are going to catch up to you eventually. And that's something we've seen across the history of all tactical FPS. Anytime you're at the top, that position doesn't stay that way without hard work. And it's not to say these teams aren't working hard. It's just that the teams who are trying to get to the top are always going to be working harder.
Yeah, the gap is closing. There's just more interest in Game Changers than ever. Just to see all these new players come into these teams, pairing them with veterans, it's so healthy for the ecosystem, and just like it feels like the best time ever to be a Game Changers fan.
It really is. And well, there's some new faces and new teams making upsets. Version 1 is, of course, still here, the dynasty of Game Changers. And to dive into this team, I think what is so impressive about them is that for this squad that came together freshly for the 2023 season, Heather, they've picked up where Cloud9 left off, have been so dominant. But today, the big story is going to be Disguised and this team who has continued to make upsets. Because on the other side, 2 weeks, it's insane how quickly they've made this happen.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. It's never happened historically. We've seen newer rosters and they'll come in and maybe be eliminated in the first round. But for this team to make such a crazy impact and get into that top 3, it just doesn't happen. They've already made history. I know they want more, and they've gotten these players that us knew nothing about a couple weeks ago, and put some clout behind with this guy's toast picking them up, and then you've just got this monster roster that so many people are talking about. Even when you go on Reddit now, like the biggest discussion is about Disguise, and what's cool about it, it's bringing so many new fans to this team too. And there's just what a roster too they've built. I mean, players like Lazy Lion, like Unstable, just have blown our socks off while watching them.
And I think ultimately expectations were maybe a little bit low for this team just because of what happened the last time that Disguise represented a team. Maybe people were coming into this one and thinking, maybe this team is just going to be fun to watch. But they are fun to watch for a variety of reasons. They're fun to watch because they play a somewhat orthodox style of Valorant. They're not necessarily running meta comps. They're kind of shifting their comps just on feel. Players have said, like, we pick our duelists just based on how our duelist players are feeling that day. That's crazy. No one else does that. And I think that kind of is like almost like a cheat code that they have this like fluid composition that they can play, where it's kind of like, we'll just play whatever we want to play that day, regardless of whether or not it's meta or it's something that we've heavily practiced, because we just know how to work with one another. It's like playing off of feel and instinct instead of playing off of like rigid practices, timings, all that stuff. And they're still making it work. They're running some set pieces, maybe a little bit clunky at times, but they're here. They've made it to this point.
Yeah, I think the best team to compare them to would honestly be Paper X, where it's just like the coordination, the little one-off micro plays that define this squad. But Heather, all those plays, all that flexibility is great. But versus version 1, I think it's a real test of how sound these strats, these weird ideas are, or if they are going to be more just gimmicks against the top squad and game changers.
Yeah, that's exactly the word, Mimi. I think, version 1 might not be the team that is going to fall for these gimmicks. I think they're just going to be a little more accustomed to it. We know like how dedicated they are to playing against in co-ed events. A lot of these events that they play are against kind of pug teams that pull out different things just for trying it. And so they're a little more used to it, and that might be a little more difficult. It worked incredibly well for Disguise in the last 2 rounds.
But the consistent player on this roster has been one of those players that came out that most people didn't know their name ahead of this event. And Lazy Lion Mark on that initiator role has really set up all these cool combination plays.
Lazy Lion has definitely climbed to the top as a player to watch for a variety of reasons. One of the most impressive to me is just the way that Lazy Lion shuts down opposing duelists, which is a really important talking point given who they're playing against here. Lazy Lion playing against a team like V1 who has exceptional duelists, you're going to lean on that player a little bit more than maybe you would in the past. 26-10 against opposing duelists, 7-3 in first kills and first deaths. That alone is a statistic worth mentioning outside of just the stats you see on screen. Lazy Lion is definitely proven to be a very powerful player for Disguised. But one of the things I think I love about this team overall is just, yeah, maybe Lazy Lion is the one you want to look at, but it feels like everyone has that step up potential, which is not something you typically say for a team that is formed just last week, 2 weeks ago. Usually you look at those teams and you say, oh, there's definitely that one player to look out for, but everyone else is sort of just funneling the focus towards them. No, not the case here. I think that Disguised actually has quite a few weapons in their arsenal.
Yeah, and to move on to their opponent today here in version 1, it is going to be that big test. And Heather, well, this DSG roster has been defined by their quirky compositions, their young players stepping up. The expectation was always that V1 would be here in the upper finals.
Of course, this is what we expected with that core that we've seen for so many years, and then they add in these new superstar players like Noya and Sarah and Fluorescent, especially. Like this is the all-star roster for game changers that they built, and they're not really showing any weaknesses. Yes, they did get an overtime match against Complexity, and that's pretty rare. But at the end of the day, they are the winners, and they continue to be flawless. They have not dropped a map in Game Changers this year.
You've got Mel's Mind, you've got Fluorescent's just raw fragging power, you've got Noya, who's a heavy anchor and hardcore backup to Fluorescent as well. You've got Alexis, who's coming in with like just crazy support, I think leading currently in Game Changers for APR. this team is so scary to play against because of the fact that they are just so well rehearsed. Everything goes the way it's supposed to go, even though they had an overtime game. That's the first time anyone has pushed them to that point in Game Changers this year.
It's incredible, the consistency that this team has been able to find. And I think a lot of that has been headed up by their young star, Fluorescent Mark, who has always been expected to be great. But on this team, it really feels like they've harnessed her potential. And I've got a simple question for you. Do you think she's the best player in Game Changers right now?
I don't think you can say no to that question. The gap between Fluorescent and the closest player is crazy. Just looking, this is overall, this is everything, but just looking at the main event and playoffs, the difference in ACS between Fluorescent and the closest person is 52. Almost 1.0 KD higher. ADR is about 20 above. KPR is in the ones. It's just incredible what Fluorescent is able to do. One of the most aggressive players, and yet one of the most successful players as well. Typically, when you have a player who gets very aggressive early on, there's a high success, high failure rate. Not the case here. The FDP are actually towards the lower end of the spectrum, especially when compared to other duelists.
And, you know, this is really when we talk about like win conditions and how is Disguise going to win today. And we set up the storyline of Lazy Lion is great at shutting down duelists. Really, when we were watching their matches against, again, playing against Bunny Bee and Exit, playing against Emmy and FaZe, like those two duelists weren't too relevant in that match because of Lazy Lion. And so that's what we're going to need to see today to stop the like true MVP of Game Changers, that is Fluorescent.
Yeah, she has been so good for this squad. But DSG, they're on this miracle run thus far, and who knows how they can continue with this one. However, it is just going to be this best of 3 here for the grand finals. And my question is where we're going to be heading with the map pool. The bans are in, and it looks like we're headed Haven, Pearl, then Split. What do you make of it, Mark?
It's a little bit interesting that we're going to see a map that isn't Lotus. You know, I feel like when you look at the map pool we've seen thus far throughout Game Changers, it's been a lot of Lotus and Pearl. In fact, Haven hasn't even been played once. Fracture has been played very minimally. Bind is definitely a map that a lot of teams don't want to go towards. So the map pool in general is somewhat more restrictive for a lot of these teams. The fact that we're going to get to see Haven is pretty awesome because we have not yet seen it for this main event. We've seen it during the qualifiers, but now we'll get to see what V1's going to do because we actually haven't seen them play this in Game Changers since the last time around. I don't anticipate a ton of change in that regard. I mean, most teams play Haven pretty much a vanilla way. You know, we've talked about the kind of obscure compositions that DSG runs. Even Haven is a map that they run more standard comps on. So unless they decide to throw the playbook out and do something weird, which they've already done once, Haven is just an interesting, more vanilla place for this series to start.
Yeah, and as we look across the rest of the map pool, I mean, I think for DSG, we're going to need to see them take that Haven because when you do look at Pearl, that is like V1 territory. They absolutely crushed Complexity, crushed FaZe on that map, whereas DSG didn't necessarily look too inspiring. But when we get to the final split, I think that's where it gets interesting. But we're going to need to see a big performance here from DSG to take it to that 3 map.
Well, to talk about where we're starting, though, it will be Haven. And I want to ask what you guys think could be a way in for DSG, because V1, again, still yet to drop a single map here in Game Changers. And it seems like throughout history, Haven has always been one of the best maps for Mel to call on.
It's also been one of the best maps for Jets to run around and wreak havoc. And we've seen that throughout all of Valorant, whether it's VCT, whether it's Challengers, whether it's Game Changers. Jet mains love this map. It is their playground. It allows them to be very flexible in their approach, especially on the attacking side. You've got so many points where you can kind of just systematically pick teams apart. It's like a classic like horror movie where people keep disappearing and all of a sudden you're the last one left and you don't know what happened. I do feel like that happens a lot on this map when you have a dominant Jet, which V1 has a dominant Jet. So this could be a map that V1 comes in and is just literally just slicing them to pieces and they don't know what to do about it. It is going to be a map where both teams, though. Oh, wait, no. V1 does make a change. So hold on. I was going to say, usually V1 runs standard comp, as does Disguise, which is to be expected given that it's Haven, but they decide to switch things up.
Yeah, that's actually pretty rare for them because we've been like nailing the last couple of days is like how meta and standard that they play because they don't need to change anything. So this is nice to see a change from their end.
For comparison, for anyone watching, typically Sarah would play Sova on this map. Alexis would play Breach. Noya would play Killjoy, which is the same. Mel plays Omen, and then Fluorescent plays Jet. So Mel swaps to Harbor. They swap Alexis over to the Sky, and Sarah decides to play Viper so they can go with the double controller because of the fact that Harbor alone is kind of difficult to work around. This is an interesting composition, and I'm curious to see how V1's going to make this one work. Disguise does stick with what is considered a more vanilla thing. They did swap out Omen for Astra. That's maybe a minor change, but otherwise they keep things mostly the same.
A pretty default comp here for Disguise, but V1 leaning into that bit of a meta with the Harbor Viper. We've seen these Breach Sova comps struggle against Harbor Viper in the past, and this is likely to be a surprise for DSG. But they've made a miracle run already, and we'll have to see if they can continue that here in this series as we get ready to hand things over to your casters. It's Doug and Sean.
Thank you so much, Mimi. I was really freaking excited when we were listening to this map get set up because, you know, Bach, I've got Bach. I got to put you on the spot, baby. You called it vanilla like 2 or 3 times, and I thought, Sean, what if?
Said it.
Just like, what if we get something like double wall comps and we've got it?
Yeah, you literally called it. You're like, I hope they run the Harbor Viper. I love watching Harbor Viper on Haven. I think it's actually so strong, and only a couple teams are even capable of running it. So yeah. I'm curious to see what they're cooking up right now, because they don't even run a Harbor Viper on Pearl, which is where it's most prevalent.
Yeah, it'll be, I mean, and this is really one of the benefits of a team of their caliber being able to go through the tournament without having to show this map. Right, like they get all the way up to the upper finals. They haven't played Haven at all, and then they can bust out things like this. So we'll see what they have in store. Version 1 starting off on the attacking side, and you already see a bit of an aggressive setup from DSG on defense towards mid.
Yeah, but this is definitely looking like it's going to be an A play. I don't... DSG is going to be on a fast flank here, but I don't know how quick that flank can come in to stop this A hit. Isu has a lot to do.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be faster, to be honest. I thought they would have scaled up by now, but they're creeping their way through. Meanwhile, version 1 is already taken long and short. And as you were saying, Misu has a lot to deal with here. Lazy Lion has just joined them.
Yeah, it's going to be on both of these initiators to stall out this hit, and they're not going to be able to do it.
No, surely not. Sarah's the first to draw blood, and Fluorescent goes down in exchange. Numbers still in favor of version 1, though, and you've got the flank coming through from Unstable. It's just a matter of whether or not DSG can contain and control for that flank to come through. Now Unstable arrives. The first one to go down is Sarah. A 3v3 now for the site. Noy is weak. And Alexis, look at how far up version 1 are scaling out. They pushed out into spawn.
But the trades are happening in the site.
Enemy remaining.
It's going to be a lot for Unstable to do here. 22 HP in a 1v2 with the Ghost. Nothing found. Version 1, get the pistol.
Wow. That was very well played by V1. Flipping the map, going into spawn. They felt the flank coming in. You could see all of the layers of this shot. The Viper orb goes spawn. The Viper has a molly. The kill from Unstable onto the Viper in short A was so pivotal. It gave DSG a chance, but the mid-round to push into spawn was so good out of Mel. Here again, they're setting up again for another A hit, Doug, and you know they're gonna snake bite and nano swarm the short push. They're gonna cascade long. There's gonna be no vision available to anyone at this A site. The Viper wall blocks vision of everything and also allows them to set up a B hit late. It's just, they're so drilled.
It's so oppressive. DSG don't really have much to fight back with. They bought 2 Sheriffs, 1 for Unstable and 1 for Lazy Lion, but that's it. In the face of 3 Bulldogs and a Guardian in the hands of Floor.
But they're going into this stack right now, and the Harbor Viper comp isn't super powerful. They could easily get stuffed here.
That Gravity Wall's going to buy just a little bit of time, and remember, they still have some utility, courtesy of Lazy Lion. First slash, backside, Noya's going to swing out. Oh, what? She just fully disrespected the utility in her face, pushes through, and gets 2. That was filth.
Oh my god. That was insane. A flawless round into a 4-person A stack. I mean, the Harbor Viper is very good at info denial and having the defenders guessing, but it's not very punchy, right? You don't have that breach. You don't have a reveal coming in from anyone. Instead, you're relying a lot on, you know, spacing and rotation manipulation. That was crazy that they just cracked open that site like that.
You mentioned the spacing. Yeah, Noya swung around the left side, and there was also a push from 2 members of version 1 on the right side on A as well. So anyone who was trying to play Black Site was flash, and they were outnumbered. So huge round out from B1. They keep all of those weapons, just one bot coming into this next round.
Wow. Massive from Unstable to step in front of that wall. Backs away though. The A players again starved for info. The dart's broken. The cascade was long. Unstable has to dash away. The Viper wall's up. They have to guess here.
There's not going to be much more to guess about, as really all of that should confirm where the hit is headed. They haven't committed to the plant though, just buying some time again because of Lazy Lion's utility. But now, Mel committing.
The grab well barely off of Mel. They tried to pull Mel off of the plant, but she's just in the perfect little spot to get away. And here's the lineups.
This is going to be so difficult for DSG to get through. Oftentimes, if you want to win this retake attempt, it's got to be off of pressure on the extremities. Can you take Garage? Can you take a short? If they're just going to fight their way out like that, it's going to be so difficult to deal with. But DFG have gotten into a point where they're in a numbers advantage.
No more mollies for the spike either.
Hannah's gotten it to half. Oh, but Noya. Oh,
no way.
3 on the round and 3 for V1.
And in the post plant, Noya has just been so good for this team, Doug. She is the #1 in what I consider one of the most important stats, first death per round. You know, we constantly talk about Leo from Fnatic having such a minuscule first death per round. Noya is the #1 at 0.02, so she's died first 2% of the rounds. Alexis is #3 at 5%. And then Lazy Lion, unironically, is #2. So like some of the hardest hitters in this tournament are actually doing it in the late round. And it shows with that stat.
That 3K was filthy. Noya's at 6-1. And we just started the 4th round of the game. And you know, we often talk about Floor, we talk about Alexis, we talk about Mel, obviously, and Noya is just poised to take over this series.
I think right now DSG is struggling to find, you know, an opportunity for Unstable to really open up the rounds. She hasn't really found any shots, and holy. I mean, that's our GOAT, Doug. That's our GOAT. She's #1 in almost every fragging stat there is in Game Changers right now. She is playing so well.
You know, we were joking around about, you know, how many would Floor drop in this series. And, you know, we threw out some pretty outrageous numbers, but when you take a step back and you think about Floor and what she's done in her career so far, I mean, nothing's really impossible. They've gotten down the plant, and they're all playing down long. Once again, they find themselves in a spot where there's no pressure coming in through Garage or anything like that. It's all just going to be straight up, and they only have pistols. Right, 3 sheriffs left for DSG. Make that 2, but those 2 have worked for a little bit, and it instantly crumbles.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned the first deaths per round. To give you an insight on how dominant Floor has been, her first kill per round is 0.33. She's opening up 1/3 of the rounds that she plays. That is insane. Like, that is actually insane. And that's why. We just saw why. Unreal. And now the ults are online. And this is where it gets sketchy, because they have a lockdown to take the site, Doug, and a Viper's Pit to hold it. And this is where this comp really starts thriving, when these ults come online.
Yeah, I want to take a look at DSG, though. The counter could be in the hands of Unstable, who has the op. But again, if you're trying to get past this setup here, you've got the Viper wall that you mentioned, and then the Nano lineup right as the barrier goes down. You don't get that space.
Yeah, and you best believe Mel knows that the op is in play this round, right? She saw the economy. She knows Unstable can afford the op. And she, look at the cascade from B. The cascade was long. The short denial with the molly. You know, they're doing all of these things, expecting there to be an op at any of these spots. Again, the same approach, though. They know B is a weak spot.
Mel taking a little bit of damage, and here the Hunter's Fury going off.
Very smart.
Not gonna tag, yeah. I mean, I guess splits some uprights, but denies the plant, which is what the objective was.
Oh, and they spotted her.
They've got her, know where she is. The shot in the face of the Cloudburst doesn't connect, and she repositions, stays alive for a little bit longer.
You should run.
See how much more they can get. They invest the lockdown too. Meanwhile, there's a fight that's happening just outside a door. Sarah wins that out against Hannah, but she's not expecting the second, courtesy of Katarina.
Love that mid-round aggression from Katarina. They absolutely needed that. This is a big fight here.
30 seconds
And
left.
Floor just doesn't lose those, bro. Maybe as big as they want, but Floor just answers the call once again. Mal now committing to the spike after reposition. The gravity well's just a bit off, as we saw a few rounds ago. They're going to have to flash out from this and funnel through. Lazy Lion has some utility, and it's just going to buy some time.
One enemy remaining.
Well done.
Oh,
Huge
this
from
is
Cat to win that
very
1v1.
well. But Cat's not getting the op in hell right now. This, oh man.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You can
the
tell she
comms
was
came in
looking
late.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit unlucky. But I loved the decision to push out a garage right now. She felt the A hit coming. Her teammates were calming it, right? The fake came into B to draw out the Hunter's Fury. All very well played by B1. She took out the Viper, who had the pit, and obviously all the util to stall out that retake. And then flooding on the tap. That was a great round from DSG. They know there's no off again, Doug. Look at this.
Yeah. That's going to be so difficult, but Unstable does have blades. And you already have mid-control of that. Alarm bot's going to keep him back for just a little bit longer.
Oh, the
longer.
up draft
Meanwhile, the
over.
Reckoning is all going A. Will she find something? Fluorescent going in. 2 blades online here as Misu gets one with the judge. Oh, they're dropping the Cosmic Divide too? There it is. It's up over, and Floor was ready for it.
Oh.
She was waiting. She knew where the aggression was going to come. Version 1 continuing to hold the line on the site. Now you have the Cascade that they're going to have to push through. The judge at that distance, Katarina must have been so weak to die that way, but Unstable still has blades too. 36 HP, looking for a third. Nothing found yet. All of the onus was on Unstable, and it was just too much.
I don't know what DSG can do right now to change the pace of this game. They're trying everything. They're trying to disrespect the Cascade at long A. They've tried B aggressions down mid. They've tried garage pushes like that. The Vision Strikers push out garage with the Blade Storm. They haven't gotten anything with any of these aggressions at the start of the round. It's these back and forth retakes. And going against the Harbor Viper in the back and forth retakes like that is so difficult. They're trying to not be in that scenario, but they can't guess the right spot at the start of the round. It's quite unlucky. So they take a timeout here. I think the approach might be to kind of play a little bit flexible and rotate into where the hit comes. Because right now they're playing so aggressive and V1's just bouncing off of that aggression.
Yeah, you even think about the one round that DSG did win. It was off of buying a little bit of time with the gravity while forcing Mel to reposition on the plant and then just flooding through, right? Like popping out onto the site and wreaking havoc, and that's where things equalized. Ultimately, that did just go down to a 1v1 though, so do you really trust to win out in instances like that time again? It's so tough for DSG because Version 1 are just clicking here.
Yeah, you can see again, they're going with the same base setup, the Sova Jet over towards this A site. In the past, we saw Katarina, playing that Jet over at the A site. And now on this Astra, they made a little bit of an adjustment to try to maybe, adjust to the comp that V1 would bring in.
Unstable has to get cheeky here to try to peek through that wall. Takes
But nothing
decay.
again.
Yeah, nothing is found. And that's just such an unfavorable fight to take anyway. Nice snap out from Sarah. Being methodical and clearing the second, seeing their 2 on the other side, and once again, Version 1 just mowing over the defense.
They did win this round quite flawlessly, but I do want to draw attention again to Katarina pushing out bottom C right now, right?
Yeah.
I think the play right now for DSG is we need to push the opposite sides of the map as aggression. And we need to be flanking. We need to be very active across the map, not only where the hit is. So I like to see more of that actually moving forward because that's what got them their first round.
Yeah. You wonder too though, Sean, I mean, is it, a lot of it has to be the pace in which they're doing it too, right? Because this round is a really good example of that. Yeah, Katarina took all down C long, controlled that entire half of the map, but by the time she got to the bottom of C long, the site was lost, the spike was down, so it feels like it's not just pressure, but it also has to be fast out from DSG.
It does, and it's gonna feel very difficult, right? They're gonna have to take risks through Harbor util, potentially through Viper util. And more importantly, this next round, right? Unstable's clearly saving for another operator. She'll probably have one. I'm curious where she's gonna look for that first blood. You can see yep, there it is. It's coming in. Okay, Unstable with the operator right there. This round is going to be particularly hard for her, though, because the Seekers are online. So normally against the Harbor Viper, you only have to deal with the dog, right? That's what spotted her on short that round. Now you have to deal with the Seekers as well. So there's so much util to push her off these lines.
And
Ooh, and
the truth
lobby
is, dude,
aggression, Doug.
yeah, version 1 has just not been stopped, so there's really no incentive for the attacking side to take a different approach.
Look at this.
Like,
this is a long-air retake, though, with Breach Ult. The Rolling Thunder is going to demolish these players coming up long, and then they're going to try to retake it on turret contact. Oh my, this is going to be insane.
Do they go off of that? Do they go off of the dog?
Here we go.
It's going to hit them all. What does Noya do off of this? Do they reposition? DSG looking to push forward now. Mel's the first to fall. Oh, they're flashed up as well. The utility is so well set up.
That was so sick.
It.
That was such a sick set play from DSG. And now this Harbor's finally out of the equation. And again, here's that other side of the map, aggression. I love these adjustments from DSG to win this round, potentially. Unstable actually entering a really sketchy territory.
Yeah, are you expecting Katarina, though? Remember, Katarina had that perfect timing out of Garage a couple of rounds ago, and I don't think they're expecting where she is now.
Oh, but they're rolling to Garage. They might not know, Doug, but it might not even matter.
They've guessed right. They found the weak spot, the opening on the map, and an aggressive pit. Look at how far back that goes. Katarina could save the round, though. Again, the timing and the position from the controller could be everything. Nothing shown. Noya the first to fall. Sarah joining suit. But Floor now in a 1v3, quickly turned into 1v2, 26 HP. Not able to do anything there. DSG takes a second.
Again, this aggression from Katarina is coming in massive. You know, I think it's actually won both of the rounds for DSG so far. You know, the willingness to not feel boxed in from the Harbor Viper, to not feel pressure from that utility, to play passive. She's disregarding all of that and trusting the comms of her teammates. It did get very sketchy due to Unstable's death by Garage, but great flank by her.
We were just talking about how, you know, if there's no reason for version 1 to go elsewhere, yeah, continue to hit A, right? If it continues to work. If it's not broken, why switch it? And that very well may be enough to have version 1 at least try to explore different areas of the map here. Out in the hands of Unstable once more.
Here's a round where they have this lockdown. You can see the intention here is to play retake on this A site with the lockdown. The Harbor Viper has a really difficult time dealing with the lockdown. So that bulks up their defense on the rest of the map. And oh my god!
Spike down.
Oh my god!
Okay, I was watching the minimap, and you can still see the smoke there that's up on the screen right now.
Yeah, she smoked him. Yeah, you can see it.
I saw the smoke on the minimap, and I went, that's odd. I wonder why that smoke is there. She's going to want to challenge by herself. Just swings out an Alpha's 3 of version 1. That play was huge.
One enemy remaining.
Katarina's off base. Yeah. I mean, you've earned it. Alexis is on the other side. Katarina on the swing. And it's a well-deserved days for Katarina as DSG shows signs of life.
That could not have come at a better time for DSG. A huge individual play. A swing out of Garage. That's her Nebula in the field to take that peek, Doug. That's sick. That's actually such a good play from an Astra. It's very risky. But you gotta remember, Katarina's a duelist at heart. Playing Astra like a jet right there. That was amazing. And it puts a little bit of fear in V1. And it forces a stinger out of Fluorescent. She has Bladestorm though, so good buy. Healthy buy coming out of DSG again.
Get out of my way.
Here the blades used for Floor. No challenge for double doors. You see it. It seemed like they were expecting Katarina to try to reposition and hit the same spot once more, but it never comes. Note here, Alexis has Seekers too.
Everyone's trying to slow down this game. Really decrease the variance a little bit. Late A default. Same dog going clear short. Cascade going towards long. It's just a slower pace now.
Which is interesting too, because it's their Viper wall that Alexis had to use the dog to clear that cubby out on in short. So invested to use that. It seems like A is entirely open. They're playing retake off of Hannah's lockdown. Seekers invested. No one is home.
The question is when does Hannah use this lockdown? Preemptively, during the tap, after plant for the retake?
I thought first, second floor was going to push into heaven. And they have to take a step back.
Oh, that was a crucial miss.
30 seconds left.
Mel stays alive.
But it's just a tap, and now they're running it down C.
I mean, with 20 seconds left, there's not a lot of time. DSG are already rotating towards B and C as well. It's going to be a foot race, and I don't know who gets here first.
All 5 are here now for DSG.
She's going to want to push floor with a huge play! 3 on the round, the 4th was robbed. But Misu now in a position to try to pull off a 1v4. Mel is reckoning. Hunter's Fury, no dart available. Just 2 shocks. What can Misu do? The wall goes down, and the bullets do not land. Version 1 gets another off of heroics from their star.
Wow. Anything you can do, I can do better type beat. Jeez, what a round from Floor. Again, just an individual effort. The high tide comes through, blocking C, rotate, and the defenders, since they're all there, they want to flood. They want to take that site as quick as possible. They know they have the timing. And if it wasn't for Floor making that play, I actually think DSG was in a great spot to win that round.
Heroics proved to be the difference maker once more. This time the other way now. You've got Misu, who has a Hunter Fury still in the op in the hands of Unstable, who's currently trying to creep down, has gotten past the Cascade so far, and now has at least a long control.
Ooh, and look, here's that Nebula that Cat threw earlier in the game.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the garage pick, but it's actually a front B play, and she's pushing again. There's a turret holding, though.
And the turret's going to get cleared. What is it that draws attention? What makes them turn around? 'Cause right now, it's nothing. So far, they haven't done anything to deal with what's happening in garage. They just tuck tail and push through. Now the Cascade is going to buy some time. They haven't committed to the spike plant yet.
Oh, V1's flustered. They want to reclear garage now.
They're going to fight this. Oh, the flash is great! And the kills come through for Floor. Hunter's Fury out from Misu. What's it going to find? Just buys time. Just causes havoc. Spike down. What can they do? Unstable still with the op not landing, but good night. Floor just does not miss, man.
Yeah, if you challenge Floor, you best not miss, Thug. Wow. I feel like that round could have swung DSG's way. Unstable with some very uncharacteristic misses early on in this game right now on the operator.
I mean, you think about that missed shot from Unstable, and yeah, it was off of Floor, just wide swinging, right? Like there was no flash with it or anything like that. It was just pure disrespect, which is how that's the edge that Floor plays on, and that's how you get a 17-8 performance. If Unstable hits that shot, we're having a different conversation on the round.
Indeed, and we're gonna have a brawl here at this A lobby. Unstable's pushing up super aggressively.
They were the fault line, the gravity well, and Floor on the flash. Alexis sets her up so well, but Katarina does it again. Noya now 1v3. He's gotten it down to 1v1, and they're on the opposite side.
And she knows that. She mars the flank. She'll lock down the site probably right now, just to get some space.
And what a chaotic round.
That's gonna. Oh, does Hannah want to challenge this?
Wait, that's so bold. That's so bold. Does she dare peek? The turret provides the warning, provides the cover. Noya repositioning, trying to take down Long. Hannah with no utility, just a Guardian in hand. But Noya much worse for wear. No armor, 55 HP. It only takes a few bullets to tap, and she's sticking and she's holding it. It's a clutch from Noya, a massive one at that.
Another huge play in the late round from Noya. I love the use of the lockdown right there. Take the site, get that space. The turret's top site. And I think if Hannah maybe collected that turret earlier in the round during the whole, skirmish in a lobby, maybe, just maybe she could put it top site to protect that defuse. But there was no chance she was sticking this spike.
Yeah, it was just such an obviously massive clutch out from Noya, but Hannah was in such a miserable position. Like, you had to guess at that point, right? Like, once the lockdown goes through, you have no vision of what's going on the site. Could she be short? Could she be long? It's a 50-50 play, and unfortunately for Hannah, the only real option she felt like she had was trying to stick it at least a half and take a fight. It just did not work out. So version 1 with a 9-3 lead on defense now, and they're still hunting for blood. They have all A main control already, Sean.
Yeah, but look at this B play. How does the DSG react having the B site so free? And this will determine the round most likely. Can Hannah stop this aggression?
in a 1v4? Because there are 4 on the other side of this. This is such a big ask out of Hannah. And you don't even get a chance to shoot your gun. Floor just swings out and decapitates her.
Keeps so close to the Trailblazer too.
Dude, the thing is, Noya's positioning here secures everything. Yeah, you see it. Noya was back in spawn. They had no real idea. Noya with 3 on the round. This map is, for all intents and purposes, over.
And yeah, Katarina has no choice but just watch. Watch this round sink away inside that bubble. Inside the cove. Oh, 10-3v1, Doug.
Is only a tool. You can't
And
just
right now, DSG has to be contemplating the Stinger Force.
Yeah. At this point, you're so far down.
It's either you give 11 and you have one of the greatest comebacks ever, or you go for the Stinger Force. And yeah, here it is. They go with the Stinger Force. Now, the default comp on Haven is very good at, like running down a site with these Stingers. I mean, the Breach Sova combo with Stingers rushing you, it's brutal. It's very hard to deal with.
It's a judge in the hands of Noya. By the way, who's currently playing up towards Garage, tucked behind the Viper wall while DSG want to go B. And they know now, if there was any question about it, it's Stingers that are in play for the attacking side. The first one's already fallen, though. Floor trying to push through in the face of the Cloudburst, has to back up. And so DSG have done well to take the site. Are they going to go? Are they going to try to push through?
They're thinking about it. There's no good options right now, though. Katarina's smoke completely blocks the pathway to A.
Here.
They're trying to get some space, but Floor is repositioned all the way to C-Link. They're completely boxed in.
Yeah, they wisely reconsider and commit to the plan. Unstable and Misu have gotten 2 massive kills. They've dealt with some of the pressure on one side, but Noya once again is going to be the thorn in their side. Because you're not expecting a third here, and you're not expecting with the judge popping out of the smoke. There just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough distance. It should buy time, though, for Mel and Alexis to take some space. Alexis with 1, a 1v2. Oh, and it just barely misses. Hannah saves the round.
Wow. Okay, they live to fight another day. Very well played by DSG right there. They had to sniff out the entire B site right there. They went into A-Link, looked for a duel, walk back, plant for A-Link, which probably makes V1 believe it's an A-Link heavy play, right?
Yeah.
There's probably someone waiting there. But they actually push into the C-Link smoke. And that decision was the one choice V1 was not prepared for. We might have a game here, Doug.
You very well may. You know, you say things sometimes as a caster and you go, did I just jinx things? No, I said the map was for all intents and purposes over. This may have been my fault. We'll see, though. DSG still have a lot of ground to make up. They find themselves down 6 rounds, but with a gun advantage here and a considerable one at that. But Floor and Alexis have kept it close. They've kept it interesting. That was rough. That was messy.
Enemy remaining.
Is this how this goes down? Is this how this goes down? Hannah's gonna have to pull out a clutch with 20 HP. Floor gets 3 with the Marshall and a thrifty round win to get V1 to 11.
The flood decision, Doug.
Can I get this?
I don't know if you caught it, but the second that breach flash hit the site was when everyone ran out. They understand the protocols of this A hit. They waited for the breach flash back site, and then they just immediately came out. That was brutal. That was so brutal for DSG. And you could see they're flustered. They don't even know what to do.
Oh, I mean, that was their lifeline, right? They
Blinded.
pull off a round that, you imagine they probably shouldn't have, and they finally have an advantage. And for the door to be slammed in their faces the way that it was just then can be so difficult. But the thing is, there's not a lot of time to sit on it and think about it.
Look how impressive the Harbor Viper is.
Yeah.
This orb tossed over from A-Link. The Viper runs over to C, past the wall, which allows the Flood retake to come into C. They have a Killjoy turret in Garage, making sure no one takes Garage. The wall also blocks Garage. It is very, very difficult to enter these sites.
Well, and then not to mention, on top of all of that, you've got like Alexis's flash. The timing on it is perfect. You're getting presence and you're getting information of that there is somebody in a short. So the timing on it is just so drilled.
It's really just if Unstable can catch someone. Here she goes. Well played.
First. Mel has fallen. Alexis is flashed. Second not coming through. DSG are going to pull this off. They've upgraded massive weapons too. 2 rifles picked up. Sarah and Noya having to pull off a 2v5. The thing is, there are a lot of members that are weak. There's the first one to go down. Katarina does. She dares swing. It was just a shoulder, just an elbow. And it was just enough. Noya on the third.
Last player standing.
And you've got Sarah who's falling down. It's going to have to be an ace to pull it off with 3 bullets left. They connect. Noya with the ace and the round for V1. Sean, what on earth did we just witness?
Call me tech support again.
We just witnessed the start of map 2, Doug.
Point.
That was insane. She played it so patiently, angling off, getting these kills, but I also have to throw a little bit of shade DSG's way. I mean, some of these deaths, they had perfect situations to be in crossfires right now.
Yeah.
And they kind of gave her the first 2 or 3 fights. Oh man, DSG has really thrown a couple of these rounds, and they're gonna be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit later. Like this is rough.
Out of my way.
Oh man.
You know, you even thought once again there was a slimmer of hope. There was a moment where it felt like DSG could find some traction and find some footing, but we'll see what they can do here. They have blades in the hands of Unstable with the judge too. Nothing has been spotted yet. The position for Mel is so nice, but Unstable cleans her up anyway.
They know Alexis is here. Oh!
Hey, it may not matter. There it goes. Unstable still causing problems with the blades eventually dealt with. The gravity wall is going to keep them down as GSG get to 5.
Oh. I mean, we have to remember DSG is such a new team. I think their overall approach, the way they enter these sites is so strong. They're dealing with the Harbor Viper util so well. Their A-hit looks very well drilled. It's the late round stuff that keeps bothering them and honestly is putting V1 so far in the lead this game.
Yeah.
The skill is super close between these teams. The approach is great from both of them, but the late rounds are all going V1's way.
Yeah, once it gets into chaos, once Noya has to make a play, or Alexis, or Floor, that's where it really feels like the difference is shown. DSG in a really nice position, though, to get something going. V1 are entirely broke. They just have pistols, and there are 4 ults on the side of DSG. You get through this round without having to invest any of those, and you're talking about a substantial snowball.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking to take these ults into the next round, right?
Yeah.
It would be a disaster if they used like 3 of these to fight this retake. But this is this Harbor Viper. Look what the wall allows V1 to do. Gain so much space. They catch Unstable off guard.
Off your feet!
They're just gonna fight.
Oh,
That's the
no,
second ult used, and Mel's right past it. But she didn't clear a lockdown. They've got to go up, and they've got to try to clear it out if they can. It finally does go down now. Hunter's Fury used 3rd ult on the round, and it may not matter. Sarah has upgraded a weapon. She gets a kill on it on a Katarina, and Mitsu's left in a 1v2. But Alexis is just gonna hold the defuse the whole way.
Defenders win.
A thrifty round to close out Haven. And honestly, that entire round just felt like a perfect summation of what we saw in that entire map, Sean.
I can't believe it. I can't believe there were so many situations where V1 looked completely dead in the water on the retakes, and they pull out these heroics. They use their comp and their spacing and their util perfectly, and DSG just, it looks so flustered in those retakes and chaotic situations. Oh, that's heartbreaking for DSG.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, for DSG, you mentioned it a couple times in the cast, they did a very good job of getting to that point, right? Their side execs were really nice. They did a really good job of fighting for control. You even had their set pieces, I think, back on the Rolling Thunder on defense towards A, that trapped V1 and got them a pivotal round in the first half. But the truth is, they just weren't able to thrive. They weren't able to hang when things got messy, and it was just way too much for them. The other maybe a bit ominous thing to consider as we head to the break is the fact that was DSG's map pick. Now we hit to Pearl, where version 1, that's their playground, right? How on earth do you possibly navigate that, Sean?
That is going to be a very difficult question to answer because, like you said, I mean, this is their playground. They are 9-0 since the start of April on this map, and Floor just looks so dominant. Like it's going to be a lot on DSG. I think they run the double duelist on this map with Phoenix Jet. It's going to be a lot on those duelists to find value in their ults, in Phoenix's case, and the op in Jet's case. And I don't think we saw the op really, have a lot of impact for DSG on this map. And that's in large part due to the Harbor Viper.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so difficult for Jet to find value there, but we'll see if DSG can answer the questions as Sean so eloquently poised on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah and I play Sentinel for DSG Game Changers. So Misu is our controller, and what she brings to the team is that she has that young talent and a really fresh vision of the game.
Hi, my name is Disguise Toast, and I am the CEO of Disguise. No, I'm just kidding. Hi, I'm Misu, and I play controller for DSG. I think I bring a level of kind of like energy to the team. I think I'm very energetic, and I calm a lot during like our scrims and our matches. And I think I kind of provide a level of like I'm kind of sporadic in a way. So I think it's really fun to play with me sometimes, and I think my teammates enjoy that.
So Kat plays duelist for my team, and what she brings to the team is definitely that veteran playstyle and that voice for the team.
She definitely brings a big level of like consistency and just running in and going and killing all of them and getting hers and getting more and getting an ace like everyone has seen. Her awesome clips everywhere from the past tourney, and she's just insane. So you just gotta watch out for her.
So Lazy Lion plays initiator for my team, and what they bring to my team is that they're a really good listener and a really great fragger.
I think for Lazy Lion, you definitely have to watch out for their Odin. Their Odin's insane, especially on all the Odin spam maps, and they just bring an insane level of consistency and great level of comms to our team, so you definitely have to watch out for them.
So Unstable is another duelist for our team, and what they bring to the table is that they're really great at fragging as well.
I think for Unstable, they are so insane at just hitting so many multi-frags and getting us those entries and being able to mid-round, and they're an insane caller. Their comms are insane. I feel like everyone has already seen Hannah. She's just our insane clutch god. Like she's always there to just clean up the round and just like kill everyone. She's just always there to just clutch up when we need it.
I mean, it's just all galore. You get an ult, you get an ult, you get an ult. Everybody check under your seats right now. I promise you there's a DSG ult waiting for you as they just push inside the spawn. They want to do it flawlessly. Megalodon will stop that up.
To win this whole thing would be so huge for me individually. I've been on many other teams before DSG, and I feel like this team definitely has what it takes to go to the next level for sure. I had never made it past like top 5 before, and I feel like that with this team, like we have what it takes. Like we have the mechanical skills, we have the understanding of the games, and as long as we keep improving together, I feel like we'll go really far.
My teammates definitely make me feel like I'm here and that I'm wanted and that I'm a great player, and I appreciate my team for all the support they give me, along with like my community and my family and my friends as well. They all support me, so I definitely feel like I'm here for a reason, and I'm just going to continue to put my head down and work hard, and I'll be one of the best one day.
You get involved, Unstable spots someone on the dash forward. Rise still finds the kill, but Lazy Lion is there to trade quickly. 2 players stacked up on the pillar. The Molly dealing so much damage, and the flash excellent as Katarina pinches around the corner with her team.
DSG is here to win, and thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. Shout out to Toast and to all the fans, and we'll make you guys proud.
The only message I have to everyone watching is we're gonna get this bread.
Cut.